Welcome back to Boost with AR. Wang Lin finally enters the Heng Yue Sect, but instead of glory, he finds humiliation, hard labor, and harsh reality. His path to immortality has only just begun. Chapter 10. Entering the Sect. The red-faced old man frowned with dissatisfaction and said, "Elder Li, is our Heng Yue Sect really going to sink so low to make an exception for the life and death of a mortal?" Elder Li opened his eyes and said with a cold voice, "Elder Ma, the patriarch told me to handle this matter. If it's not handled properly, and this piece of trash attempts suicide a second time, and his parents spread that we forced their kid to suicide, isn't that more embarrassing? If you are willing to take responsibility on this matter, then I'll let you handle it." The middle-aged man quickly tried to make peace and said, "There is no need to argue. Why don't we let him become a disciple first? Then, after 8 or 10 years, when he fails to keep cultivating, we can send him back, and there will be no problem." The old man in robe responded, "If other youths follow suit, what will we do?" The middle-aged man chuckled and said, "This is an easy task. After this, we have learned our lesson. When we fail people in the future, we should instill in the idea of not suiciding, and that would solve this problem. As for this Wang Lin, since the matter is already this big, let us just take him as a disciple. One extra disciple doesn't matter." Aside from Elder Li, 2 other elders looked thoughtfully at the middle-aged man, not saying a word. The middle-aged man smiled and thought, "Oh, Wang Lin, I have helped all I can. I have repaid you for the piece of metal your 4th uncle has given me. I'm really curious how a mortal managed to get his type of material." What the middle-aged man didn't know was that Wang Lin's 4th uncle had bought it from a blacksmith. He had seen many things, and as soon as he saw it, he knew it wasn't normal. This time, to let Tiezhu join the Heng Yue Sect, he brought it out. As for what the metal was used for, he didn't know. A piece of metal changed Wang Lin's fate. When the news reached Wang Lin, he couldn't believe it. He was somehow accepted as a disciple for no apparent reason. 2 days later, he saw his parents off from the Heng Yue Sect. After seeing the joy on his parents' faces, he decided to seriously cultivate here. However, his way of thinking was changed after his parents left. He was secretly called to the place where disciples get their work assigned and saw a shifty-looking youth. The youth's face was full of contempt. He looked at him and laughed. "So you're Wang Lin, the kid that got to be a disciple by suiciding?" Wang Lin silently looked at the youth, challenging him. The youth sneered, "Boy, starting tomorrow morning, you come to me for work. Your job is to fetch water, no less than 10 vats a day. If you can't finish the work, then no food for you. And if you continue for 7 days, then I'll tell the elders to kick you out of the sect. These are your clothes. Remember, honorary disciples can only wear gray. Once you're a true disciple, you will be assigned other colors." After he finished talking, he tossed the clothes to Wang Lin and closed his eyes. Wang Lin picked up his clothes and asked, "Where do I live?" The youth didn't even open his eyes and casually said, "Go north until you see a row of houses, give your badge to the disciple there, and they will give you a room." Wang Lin left and headed north to the houses. The youth opened his eyes and said, with disdain, "To rely on suicide to join, he really is a waste." While walking in the Heng Yue Sect, he saw many disciples in gray uniforms in a hurry with pale and cold faces. Some had tools in their hands and they were all rushing about. After going straight for a while, he saw a row of houses. There were much more disciples in gray here, but they hardly talked to each other. After he gave his badge to the yellow-clothed disciple that was in charge, the youth impatiently pointed to a room. Wang Lin had already gotten used to the cold expressions of all the people here. He got to his room and opened the door. It was a large room with 2 wooden beds, a table, and 2 chairs. They were all very clean and were about as new as the furniture at his house. He picked the bed that looked vacant. He placed his luggage down and lay in his bed. Although he had gotten into the Heng Yue Sect, it wasn't what he was expecting. He thought he was going to learn infinite techniques, but it seemed his job was to fetch water. Thinking about this, he sighed and touched the stone bead in front of his chest. This was the treasure he had acquired. Wang Lin had read many books, and he knew the danger of exposing it, as many people would aim for this treasure. A short while later, night fell, and an extremely tired youth in gray opened the door and entered. He was stunned when he saw Wang Lin, and then proceeded to pass out on his bed without saying a word. Wang Lin didn't care. He knew that he had to wake up early. He touched his stomach, then took out some sweet potatoes. His parents brought them for him to eat when they went out searching for him, and since he was accepted, his parents gave all the remaining food to him. The sweet potato was very sweet. As Wang Lin was eating, the youth woke up and eyed the sweet potato. While his mouth watered, he said, in a low voice, "Can I have a piece?" Wang Lin took out a few pieces and said, "I have a lot here. If you'd like, have some more." The youth quickly picked up the food and scarfed it, then went over to the table and poured himself a glass of water. He exclaimed, "Damn it, I haven't eaten anything in 2 days. So what's your name?" Wang Lin said his name. The youth suddenly laughed and said, "So you're Wang Lin, the kid that entered the Heng Yue Sect by suiciding?" He suddenly realized what he had done and said, "Brother, my name is Zhang Hu. To tell you the truth, there is no one in the sect that doesn't know about you. So please don't blame me for what I said before. In fact, I admire you for being able to enter the sect this way." Wang Lin laughed bitterly. He didn't try to explain and passed over a few pieces of sweet potato. Zhang Hu quickly accepted it and took a few bites, then said, "Wang Lin, you better leave some of it for yourself. You're new here. Who knows what evil things that yellow weasel will try to do? Damn it! He doesn't even treat us like humans." From rejection to survival, and now to servitude, Wang Lin's true journey as a cultivator starts here. Stay tuned for Chapter 11, only on Books with AR.